Hi everyone, this is Marcy from Prints and Paints by Marcy. Today I wanted to show you how to make a coneflower design. We'll be working with a 12-inch mandala circle. This is a MDF hardboard is what I'm using at 1/4 of an inch thickness. The design and color scheme we're going to be using is something of this nature. So, how to start this? First, you want to make sure that your mandala circle is already prepped and ready to go. You can watch my tutorial on how to create these circles using a ruler. The colors I will be using is this, it's by Folk Art. It's metallic acrylic paint in pearl white. Now if you have any other colors, absolutely you can use them, but if you want to use this specific design, these are the colors I did use. This is actually a chalk paint. If you do not want to use chalk paint, you can absolutely use any other kinds of acrylics. I honestly just bought this because I did not find this particular shade and color in acrylic based paints. This color is called Scallion, and this is by Waverly. The next color is going to be by Apple Barrel, and it's called Sunkissed Peach. I consider this my cream color whenever I'm doing certain things. It is like a peachy tone. Next one is also by Apple Barrel. It is called Marsh Green. This is the darker green shade we will use. Again, I'm also using matte acrylic. I don't like to use semi-gloss, only because I feel I want to have control of how much gloss and sheen is on my product, on my finished painting. That is your discretion, obviously. I like to use matte. I'm also using Apple Barrel, and this is territorial beige. It is like a brownish color. It will dry a little bit darker than what it looks like in the packaging. And then the last two are the metallics. So I have this, it's by Hisoko. It is a metallic acrylic paint. This one is metallic bronze. So this is the lighter tone, bronze. And then I also have it in the same as metallic copper. This will be the center portion of our design. We're actually going to start with this color and the metallic pearl. So I'm going to get like a water dropper. This will help thin out the paints as I need them. I do not like to use any sort of trays. I prefer just to shake my bottle. I then use the cap. So there should be enough in there already to use. And what I'm going to do is just a few droplets, maybe 3 or 4. And then I use the ends of these kinds of dotting tools, the nice little rubber-based silicone, and I just mix them up until they're a nice consistency. This thins out the paint. It helps it so it's not so gloppy. Sometimes if you notice when you do your dottings, your dots may be a little crooked looking, or they're just not coming out right. And it's probably because your paint is either not thinned out enough or is too thin. So please be careful. You'll learn how to make a right consistency when doing this over time. So it should look a little thin, okay? I also like to use baby wipes when I do these things because I find wiping your dotting tool every time you dot makes a nice, perfect dot. They aren't all, you know, mushy and everything else. So we're gonna start with these tools. So depending on what tools you like, I prefer to use these smaller dotting stylists. I mainly use these two. These are the smallest I believe you can possibly get in a kit like this on Amazon. So I consider this my 0 and this is my 1. They are very small. I don't know if you can see how small they are. Yeah. So those I mainly use for the center parts of the dots. And then I also bought these dotting tools. They are DIY mandala stones. That's what they're called. And you can purchase these online. I'll put the link in the description for you if you'd like. I think they're about $30. These seem to be the best, and I'll tell you why. They're very hard plastic. Let me show you really quick. In the past, I have bought these kind that have this swirly effect to them, and they're great. They're plastic, but over time, this plastic tends to chip, and it creates a divot, which is very hard to make a perfect circle with. So I stopped using those. Now, if you're a beginner, obviously use whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable with. But I found that these are great. I think Happy Dotting Company also just came out with a brand new packaging for tools similar to this. So yes, these I love. And they have numbers on them. So if you want to go along with me, you'll understand what numbers I'm using for this particular design. Well, we're going to start with the center. I want to do a number 18. 18. It's rather large. You always kind of want to have your center circle a little bit larger than most. And so we're just going to basically dip the dotting tool into the paint, get a nice little bubble on the end. And then straight down motion, we're going to dot in the center. We're going to do it a few times so that you get a nice even dot. Okay? If it kind of clumps into one side, you can take your smaller stylus tool and you can push it over and swirl it around. I have a hole in the center, so some might start going through the bottom. So I'm just going to do it one more time. Like that. Perfect. Okay. We're going to wash this off with our baby wipe. Now, you don't have to do this, but I prefer to do it. It just makes cleanup very easy. You're not making a big mess. You don't put it down by accident and you get paint everywhere. It's just a good habit to do as a painter in general. So we're going to set this one aside. We're now going to use our metallic copper. So for copper now, we're going to start our cone. So the inner copper, I started a little one here that I can basically show you quickly. The inner, we're going to do a dot on where the pie continues in, where the lines are in. You're going to put a dot in between each pie. Okay, so we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dots in the center. And we're going to use a number 5 dotting tool. Let's see where I can find it. There it is. Okay, so we're going to use a number 5 dotting tool. Again, we're going to dip it in. Now make sure, I kind of tilt this a little bit so that I can get enough paint in there, like so. And we're going to dot in between the lines, remember. So 1, and try to get it to as close as you can to your white dot. Not on it, but as close as you can. Make sure that's what you're paying attention to, is the uniform of where you're placing your dots. That is the most important thing. So we'll do the next one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you should look something like that. It looks like a little bit of a flower forming, right? So clean this off, put it aside because you might use it again. Remember, you're going to be sticking with 5, 6 right now. Now, if you don't have one of these styling tools, you can probably get away with using the number 2 mark for the white ones on these. I just prefer to like to use these smaller ones just because of the ball on the edge of them. They really, I don't know, they make a different dot, if that makes sense. So I'm going to dip this in here. I'm not going to get a lot on this, just enough to coat the edge of it. And I'm going to place it in between each dot. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to get the smaller one. This would be considered a number 0, I guess, or a number 1 on these. It is the smallest tip you can possibly use. They're about the same size, I'd say. Okay. And from there, we're just going to do one on the outside of the smaller dot we just did. You basically just need a design in the center first, okay? So that's that. Now we're going to go back again to our number 5. And we're going to repeat this pattern, except for the small dots are going to be a tad bit different. Okay? So 1, 2, 3. Remember to try to stay centered. If you notice that you start veering off towards one of the sides of the lines, erase your dot and start over. Okay? I think that is the biggest mistake that people make, is that they start to veer off, and before they notice it and they don't correct it, they keep going, and then they wonder when it's done, why does it look all... Well, that's why. Okay, this is almost like mathematics. You have to really focus on where you're placing your dots. And do it in a nice calm setting where you can focus on it. If you're rushing it, if you're feeling overwhelmed, step away from it and try again. This should be therapeutic and, rewarding in the end. So what I'm going to do, now I'm going to bypass using this smaller one. I'm going to use these simultaneously, so have them just side. I'm going to use the number 1, I guess, or 0. And we're going to make 2 dots, but we're going to do almost like a half moon design. So let me show you really quick. So I have these 2 dots here, and closer to the center of the other ones, I'm going to put one on this part, and I'm going to put one over here, okay? Just like that. So it kind of creates like a horseshoe. They're not centered on the line. They're right before the line. 1, 2. Okay, so we're done with copper. All right, we're moving on. Now we're going to go with green, okay? This one now can be a little thick, so I like to really shake this up. Okay, so now that we're starting to taper out, and we're getting into a much larger scale here. Ooh, I got some water on here. We're going to up the size. So instead of using your 5, you're going to flip it over and use 6 now. So we're going to use the 6 mark. And because we're doing just these dots now, we can start going down the center, and I'll show you what to do. So remember, down the center of the pie, not on the lines, down the center. So try to eyeball it. If you feel like you're not great at that, you can always take a quick pencil. Let's see. And draw yourself a line down the center like so. Okay? And that could help. So, 6. 1, 2. The number 6 usually sits within one of these circles, I noticed, just like nice and snug. It doesn't go over the lines. So we're going to do, I think we're going to do 3 on this one, okay? Perfect. Okay. So we're going to clean off our tool, set it aside. Now with our number 2 stylist, or remember what I said, if you use this one, number 2, okay? I'm going to swirl it in there a bit, get a nice amount of paint on this one. Make sure it's not glopping because, you know, you're going to make an awful mess. Just enough to coat the top. And we're going to try to do, I think, 2 dots down the center of each side. So focus on the center of your dot right here. And off there, you're going to go down at an angle towards the center of this line. All right. So you're going to do like upper right corner. Actually, we only have 2 fitting in here. So we're going to do 2. We're going to do 2 off this side like so. Okay, so it looks like a little bit of a V. You're going to turn it. Always make sure you're centering yourself too, your board. You don't want to be working over here like this. Always make sure you're looking at it centered. It helps guide you too with your eyes. You use your body as the center point so that this is lined up with your body. Good. Okay, we're just going to keep going. 1, 2. Okay, we got our first row. Second row. So we're going to do the same thing. Now we're going to start at this dot, okay? And we're going to move at an angle, and we're going to stop at the line. Always don't go over the line. Stop at the line. This one we're probably going to be able to do 3. See? 1, 2, 3. Yes. Good. We're getting there. See, it's starting to create like a star shape almost, which is what we want. Okay. We're going to do 1 more row. We're going to stay with our stylist. Now we're going to try to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And try to see if you can line your dots together. So, for example, let me clean this off and I want to show you. Your dots, you want them to be like this side is matching with this side. If this guy's down here and he's up here, it's not going to look very uniform like, right? It's going to start looking skewed, and then all your dots are going to look like that. So you want to make sure you do 1 row at a time. work within this little region here, in between these two dots. So that, you know, and then what this part right here is going to start creating that black line that goes down the center, that creates that 3D illusion. All right, I'm going to finish these up. Remember, 4 dots. Okay, there we go. So now we're done with green. We're only going to do 3 rows of that. Okay. So now we're going to take the number 7 dotting tool, number 7, and again we're going to continue, remember, down the center. Okay, these we're going to do, I think we're going to do 4, maybe 3, let's see, 3. We still have a few colors to do. I think we're going to stick with 3 right now and see how it turns out. So let's do these. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to use, I'm going to use this stylus tool. I want to say this is probably the same as using a number 3 for this one. Okay, we're going to do 1 dot for this. This is where it gets a little bit different. Remember, we're going to start 1 there. I'm going to do 1 on the other side. 1 here. Like that. Now if you want to use like this line as your reference to placing it right below that line. Okay, so it goes up at an angle like that. Okay, that's good. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to go with, let me see here. You're going to go with the 2 mark on this one, or if you use those other stylists, we're going to go with the yellow one, this one, so number 2. From here we're going to dip nice amount, not too much. Okay, and we're going to do that tapered off look again. So you're going to start on the line and then go right to the line, the center one going down. Remember, don't go on the line, just stop right before it. So okay, like so, and you're going to want to create that V shape. So this is the center of your V, and you're going to go up, and you're going to go up on this direction too, okay? Okay, so now we're going to start and we're going to do the territorial beige is our next color. We're going to shake that up real well. Again, cap it up. Put a few drops of water in there. Stir this up. Now with the beige, we're going to stick with the same dotting tools sizes, okay? So the center is going to once again be number 7. In fact, I think from now on we're going to stay at this size, only because we are doing a 12-inch. Now, if we were going to do a 22-inch or something extremely large, we'll probably continue that size up. So the next color would realistically be a size 8. And we would go up from there until we have our entire cone. I want to keep the cone at a minimum here because I probably want to do maybe a design on these outside perimeter if I have enough room. This is really just a trial right now to see how it looks, and you know, if it looks great, we're going to continue. So we're going to stay with number 7 though. Okay, and we're gonna once again probably do 3 rows. Okay, only because we have 2 more colors to go. So here we go. Okay, and then once again we're going to repeat that same step as we did with the cream color. So we're going to use this stylus. I believe this is the largest one you will have. There are 4 sets, so there's the white, there's the yellow, there's supposed to be a green one in between. I don't know where it went, and then blue. So if you ever buy those kits, that's what they look like. So we're going to do, once again, the blue, which also equals about a size 3 in the dotting tool. And once again, we're going to do 1 dot at the top of each corner. Okay, now we're going to use the number 2 stylus and again taper down to the center. Okay, so we're finished with the beige. Now, as you start to taper out onto your mandala design, the coneflower design, you're going to start noticing that the dots are going to get smaller as you start to taper off. So what you need to do is we're going to start using this tool and maybe making 2 dots after the large center one, and then continuing to taper out. It's important that you do that as you might start to get fairly small dots to where you can't recognize them. So that's what we're going to do. So the next color that we're going to be using will be the marsh green, the darker green. Okay, so we got our color mixed. Let's start again with number 7. Again, we're going to do 3 rows for this one. Okay. Okay, once again, we're going to do the blue or your number 3. Number 3. Now we're going to do 2 dots. So mix your color on there nice and nicely. And we're going to do 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2. I find it easier to do one side at once. And then go back and do the other side adjacent to it. And then they can line up together. Okay. And now we're on to our final color. Our final color is going to be the metallic bronze. This is that lighter shade. It's not so much like the deep red copper, but it's more of an orangey hue. So this is the metallic bronze. All right, so number 7 again. And this is our last one. So 3 again, correct? We're sticking with the 3s today. So we're going to do 3s. Now, if this was a larger scale, I probably would add a dot to each one. So if there was 3 here, I would do 4 cream, 5 brown, 6 dark green, 7 of these, and it would become this like gradient of a color almost. But like I said, because we're doing such a smaller scale today, we're going to stay within that. Now this gives me about an inch or so to do a cool design on the outside if I want to choose to do that. Okay, so here we go with our bronze. Okay, clean my tool. We're going to get the blue one, number 3. Two dots. Okay, clean our tools. We're going to do the number 2. Okay, that's good. So it's to the center. Now you see that they really start to get small, the dots, as you taper off. Okay, so this completes our coneflower design. I hope you enjoyed doing this tutorial, and I hope it was very informative and useful for you. If you'd like to see more videos, please check out my channel, subscribe, like, and follow along. I enjoy doing these, so give me some feedback, please. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Happy dotting.